Hello, everybody, and welcome into the Apples and Ginos Fantasy Hockey Podcast, the podcast you come to when you're finally ready to take fantasy hockey seriously. My name is Blake Creamer, and in this episode, I'm going to tell you how to win Week 20 of the fantasy hockey season. Let's get to biz. Oh, yeah. Welcome in, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us here on the Apples and Ginos Fantasy Hockey Podcast, the number one fruit-based fantasy hockey podcast out there. Confirmed. You know this. I know this. And we feel good about that. This is my second pod of the day. I did a 2-hour mega stream with my brother from another mother, Josh Hutchinson. So if you want to check out the trade deadline show we streamed live on YouTube, it's just under the live tab on our Apples and Ginos YouTube channel. You got to get your biscuits in there. All kinds of good nugs. I mean, Josh and I just basically derailed almost immediately, and then we never got it back. But we did discuss kind of the dud of the trade deadline that we had here. There wasn't a lot of fantasy relevant moves. I will give you the kind of the quick and dirty Cole's Notes version of those trades when we get into Newsies here. But you know what? Let's just get into it. We got a lot going on here. We got to talk about some Newsies. Yep. Let's do it. Let's before we get into the actual news, let's talk about some of these trades that happened here and some of the potential fantasy implications here. First off, I think the biggest one that we saw for the day was John Carlson to the Anaheim Ducks. Kind of came out of nowhere. It made a lot of sense. This guy was a UFA at the end of the year. So, I think Washington got a really nice haul from him. I'm not going to go through all the ins and outs and the bits and pieces of the trade here. I'm just going to talk about the implications here. But Carlson to the Ducks is very interesting because obviously the Ducks have a really good young power play quarterback in Jackson Lacombe. Is his role in jeopardy with John Carlson coming into town? I think potentially, yeah. My initial take here is that Jackson Lacombe will hold power play 1. With John Carlson kind of hitting out on power play 2. But one of the things that John Carlson brings to the table is excellent puck moving from the back end. He's great at zone exits, puck retrievals in the defensive zone, and getting the puck out quick to these really talented forwards that the Ducks have. So I think that's going to be the big piece that he brings to the table. And he can also be a really good power play performer. This guy's pacing for 69 points. Nice. He's 35. All right. He's a silver fox. He's a beautiful man. Granite chin, larger than normal Adam's apple. Okay. That's where he keeps the testosterone. I don't know what I'm talking about. That's fine. That's where we're going. Obviously I'm here by myself too. My brother in fantasy, Nate, as you can see, if you're over on our YouTube, I've got a pretty good recreation of the dance battle that Nate and I were involved in, years ago when we first met. And Nate actually beat me in that dance battle, and he did it by taking my signature move, the running man. And he just went to town. He just got deranged with it, kind of like Nate does. So, yeah, I mean, if you want to see a recreation, get on over to YouTube. Check out the picture I've got of Nate just getting the biz. Oh, my God. He's dancing on those toes. He's unbelievable. He's like a gazelle. Anyways, back to hockey here. So I think that it'll be a short leash for Jackson Lacombe, though. I think obviously Coach Joel Quenneville has kind of mixed up the power play here and there. We've seen, Mintikov getting power play time. We've seen Owen Zellweger getting some power play time. Mostly Jackson Lacombe, though. And I think even though that power play wasn't very good, I think it's ranked 23rd in the league, Anaheim's power play, I still think that a lot of that was to do with Leo Carlson missing as opposed to anything to do with Jackson Lacombe. So I think he's going to get some run here. And this is just a really nice piece, really shores up Anaheim, and it's a nice vote of confidence for the team. So that's a great trade there. Let's talk about Nazem Kadri going to the Colorado Avalanche, going back to Colorado. Really nice stuff. I mean, Kadri is... This is a nice little trade, and it came in at the wire, right? I mean, Kadri, I think we were all kind of lulled to sleep here, and then last minute he gets traded to Colorado, and obviously that's a place you want to go. That's where offense flourishes, right? Kadri's on a 55-point pace, pretty down year in Calgary. But this is going to be nice. My main thing with Kadri going to Colorado is where does he fit in, right? Like he's a center. So they already have Brock Nelson, and he's having a great season in his own right. We got Mac 1C, Brock Nelson 2C, and then Nazem Kadri maybe as the 3C. And I think that might be how they sort of roll there. But I still think it's a boost in fantasy value for Nazem Kadri. I think it has to be, right? You're going from a team that is terrible offensively, a 5-on-5 power play. It all stinks to now, yeah, just an absolute wagon at 5-on-5. I mean, if he gets into the top 6 somehow, I don't know. I mean, you know, one of these centers would have to play wing, him or Nelson. I just don't see that happening. So, yeah, we'll see what happens there. But I could see Kadri getting on the power play again. And Nazem Kadri, when he was with Colorado in his big year where he scored 87 points, he had 29 power play points. So I feel like there's a good opportunity there. Maybe he does bounce Brock Nelson on the power play, and that could be great for Kadri, not great for Brock Nelson. So something to keep an eye on. We need to check that first game that Kadri's in and see how he's deployed. But really nice for Nazem Kadri. I think, rest of the season, he could probably pace like 60 to 65 points. And if he does get power play 1, maybe we could see a 70-point pace. I'd love to see it. But yeah, really good stuff there. Victor Olofsson came back in the return to Calgary. I don't really think there's anything too much to talk about there. Like Calgary's, it's pretty gross, right? So, I mean, he can jump on the wing here. I mean, they're top 6, they're top 9, really. It's all kind of the same. So I don't think anyone loses any value per se. But I mean, he could get a little bit more opportunity here in Calgary. Could be an interesting stream, especially in that week 21 where Calgary has a pretty good schedule. So keep an eye on Victor Olofsson. The guy's he's a sniper, but I mean, a lot of the, if not all of the success that he's had this year is because he was deployed on the top line and the top power play at times this year. So yeah, that's my take there. Let's move over to Columbus, where one of my favorites on the Vancouver Canucks, Connor Garland, got traded to the Columbus Blue Jackets. Really nice, tidy piece of business for the Jackets. I think that Connor Garland, again, Vancouver, very similar to Calgary in the way that their offense is just hot garbage. Like it's not good, right? But going to Columbus, you're getting a really nice play driver, a really good puck battle guy, a good team guy, and their offense is already humming, right? They're already really good at 5-on-5. Power play is mid, but Connor Garland's not going to get on the power play, or at least not power play 1. So yeah, I think he's going to fit in really nice. I think that he could have a nice effect for whoever he plays with. Like I thought initially, like Daily Faceoff has him with Sean Monahan and Boone Jenner on line 2. But I also have seen some projections of him maybe playing on a line with Charlie Coyle and maybe potentially Cole Sillinger or Dmitry Voronkov. And I would really like to see Voronkov and Garland together. I think those two, it just makes a lot of sense with their play styles. Like obviously Voronkov's a really good puck battle guy, net front presence. He's good off the wall. So's Connor Garland, and Connor Garland is just so silky. Like for you fans out in Columbus, you're going to love this guy. I said this on the stream I did with Josh, and when Quinn Hughes was there, Connor Garland was pretty much the second best player for the Canucks every single night. He did it all. If the Canucks needed a spark, he'd go out and get into a fight. Like it just made no sense, but he's a unit. I love Garland. I'm going to miss seeing him here, but it made a lot of sense for the Canucks in their rebuild. So good stuff for Garland to the Jackets. I think you throw him in the mix with your streamers there in Columbus. Braden Shen went to the New York Islanders. Jonathan Drouin coming back to St. Louis. I mean, kind of a wash, right? I think Braden Shen maybe could get a little bit of opportunity here. He's center, but he's also left wing. Sounds like they want to play him at center, though. So that means he'll be the 2C, right? Callum Ritchie will maybe bounce down. You'll get Braden Shen on the 2C. Maybe he plays with Emil Heineman. I don't know, Anders Lee potentially on that line. And we'll see about that. Like Shen is an underrated facilitator, in my opinion, distributor. So yeah, maybe Heineman can put the biscuit in the basket a little bit. He's been snake bit as of late, and I think that maybe that could be a good fit there. But it's not really a needle mover. Shen is obviously great in category leagues. The guy's an absolute beaver, big time hits. So yeah, something to consider there if you're into that. And then Jonathan Drouin coming back, just not interested at all. Drouin was able to kind of parlay his success in Colorado to, a decent opportunity here on, the island, Long Island, but 3 goals and 18 assists in 55 games. This guy, he stinks. Like he just stinks. He's shooting 4.1%, right? So that's what happens when he doesn't have guys like Mac and, Natchez feeding him the puck, right? It's his offense has been non-existent. So I don't think that's really going to change in St. Louis. They're obviously rebuilding, but this is a guy that he's a reasonable playmaker. So if they put him in an offensive position, I think, it could be potentially streamer level. St. Louis has some weeks where they're pretty strong, and we might want to look at picking some of those players up. So yeah, that's my take there. Bobby McMahon from Toronto to Seattle. He's not going to play on Saturday, so keep that in mind. But an amazing skater, very fast, right? Can be physical, good, efficient player. Kind of the same guy that Seattle picks up almost every trade deadline, right? I don't see how he's really going to separate himself from the pack, but it's a nice little piece. Seattle's in the playoff picture right now, so it's a nice vote of confidence. You get a guy at a really reasonable price that, maybe he's a part of the team moving forward. I like Bobby McMahon, and I think that, he can do stuff for fantasy, but it's not a guy we're going out to pick up immediately, right? And we got Justin Falk going to the Red Wings from St. Louis as well, which is a really nice piece. They go out and are buyers at the deadline, and then Dylan Larkin got injured today. I'll talk about that in a little bit, but that's not great for Detroit. But yeah, getting Falk here, I think, he was smushed down a little bit in St. Louis, right? They didn't have the system really that was helping him, find his offense for fantasy. He was more of a kind of a shutdown guy, but underrated in his passing, and obviously really good in his efficiency with his shooting, right? Justin Falk, he can do that. This is a double-digit goal guy. So it's a nice piece. He's not going to touch power play 1. I don't think there's any worry whatsoever. Mo Seider is the guy. That power play is pretty elite, and I think they've been underachieving. I predict Detroit's power play will be top 10 by the end of the year. But yeah, Falk is pacing for 43 points on the year, already 11 goals, but that's on 9.5% shooting, which is high for a D-man. Good periffs though, big time block master, and he's got 49 hits in 61 games, so it's reasonable, right? He can do some stuff for fantasy, so I like that move there. You got Corey Perry to Tampa Bay. Cue the Tampa Bay getting eliminated in the Stanley Cup final jokes. Never gets old. All right. This guy's got an elite nickname as well, the Worm. Love that. But yeah, it's Corey Perry. We're obviously not interested unless he can find his way on power play 1, and he's done that in the past, right? And right now, Tampa has Oliver Bjorkstrand on there. Do they take a ride with Corey Perry? He's a good power play performer. He can do stuff out there. So, keep an eye. If Corey Perry gets power play 1, then we're interested as a streamer. Otherwise, it's just he's kind of he's a spare part, right? That can do stuff for Tampa if they start to get some injuries. You got Bobby Brink, the Brink truck going to Minnesota. I haven't checked the box score here. They're playing currently. I know he took a big hit from Jeremy Lozon, and that caused some problems, but I think he's still out there. But he was getting second line, so with Boldy and Jeek, I think, if I'm not mistaken. So that's really nice deployment for him. I don't think he had a point in the goals that I saw, but something to watch, right? He's a guy that he's not a player that can do it on his own, so he's going to need some play driving. But you play with a guy like Boldy, damn. Right. Boldy can get the biz. He drives play like a hot damn. So, access to Boldy, access to Jeek makes Brink interesting, right? As interesting maybe as Vladimir Tarasenko was, right? Maybe a little bit better. So, or Marcus Johansson, a little bit better than both those players. I'd put Brink ahead of both of them if he's getting that deployment, but it's in kind of the same wheelhouse. And then Juracek to Philly, we'll see. He's a blue chipper, right? So, and the offense hasn't been there in the minors, up to this point. I don't know. Jury's out. We got to see what this guy can do in the NHL. Obviously got an A-level slap shot, but is Tocchet going to put him out there? Is he actually going to play even this year? Maybe. I'm interested in watching to see what he does. But yeah, last couple trades here. The bunt cake, Michael Bunting to Dallas. I think that's just a nice piece there where, he can fill in, but they're so deep, that team, right? But if Michael Bunting can find his way onto that second line with Matt Duchene and Jamie Benn, now we're cooking, right? Bunting, he had a really big back half of the season when he played with Pittsburgh there. He got traded to Pittsburgh and he caught fire, right? This is a player that at times can be like a metrics guy, a shots and goal per 60 guy, a scoring chances per 60 guy. He can do that. It's been a reasonable season for him in Nashville, 42-point pace in 61 games. That's fine, right? And he's really shored up. I talked about this with Josh in the show, but he's been really good with his penalty differential. And that's great because this is a guy that's had penalty problems in the past. This year, he's kind of really turned that around, and that makes him so much more of an effective player and gives the coach so much more confidence to trust the player out there in situations, right? And I think he'll really shore up power play too as well. I think he'll get some power play 2 times. So shout out to the bunt cake. That's fine. Mackenzie Weegar to Utah. I didn't really talk about that. I don't think that Sergachev is in danger of losing power play 1. I think Weegar is fine. He's a great player, right? Really good in the defensive zone, puck retrievals, right? And the defensive zone exits, moving the puck out. He makes a good first pass, and he's a beefcake de jour. The guy's amazing. I do think that his ice time will take a little bit of a hit, and probably the periffs a little bit. I think his periffs could take a little bit of a hit. Maybe his offense at 5-on-5 goes up a little bit because Utah has a really nice offense there. Like I said, I don't think Weegar is going to get power play 1 there in Utah, and I'm not too concerned about that. Okay. And lastly, just a fun one, Nick Blankenburg to Colorado. I mean, the rich just keep getting richer. I think Blankenburg, to me, kind of profiles like Sam Malinsky. So now they got a couple of young defensemen that other teams should have and be playing more minutes, right? Whereas, Blankenburg is not going to get a bunch. He's going to get sheltered offensive minutes there in Colorado with great players. So, that's a guy that could catch fire in a week and potentially, put some points on the board. Same with Malinsky. So I really like Blankenburg. It's just a smart move. If Cale Makar gets injured, Brent Burns, like we got guys like Blankenburg and Malinsky that can step up. Obviously, you got Devin Taves there as well. But yeah, it's the rich just keep getting richer. Colorado did a really nice job picking up Blankenburg and Kadri. Really nice stuff. So that's it. That's it for the trade deadline stuff. If you want to hear much more detailed analysis, check out the live trade deadline recap that Josh and I did here today on Friday. It's over 2 hours long. Josh played the guitar. We took our shirts off. It was great. Okay, that's what we do. Anyways, let's get to biz on the news. I'm going to be real quick with this. Mason Marchment had an MRI, and that came back negative. Really nice. So it sounds like he dodged an injury. He's likely going to play next week, right? He has a chance to play. I think they play on Saturday, but I think it's more likely he's going to miss that game and then play next week. And hopefully he does, because Nate picked him in the head-to-head streamer deathmatch, and I want to whoop his ass. All right, I'm sorry about that. Sticking with the Jackets, Zach Werenski is trending towards playing. He's been sick the last 3 games. So barring a setback, Werenski should be back on Saturday. Keep your eye out for that. Get ready to activate. And then the Coiler, oh yeah, he's going to be out on Saturday with an undisclosed injury. So yeah, just something to monitor there with Charlie Coyle. Guy's been really, really good as of late. Let's move over to LA. It sounds like Quentin Byfield is going to travel with the team on Sunday. He's been dealing with an injury. So return is near. We got to keep an eye on that LA power play, right? Because Corey Perry's off the team now. So who gets the spot? I think my money, and this is because I've seen a tweet that actually tells me this, Alex Laferriere is going to get that chance first, but Byfield's still out of the lineup. So what happens when both players are healthy, Laferriere and Quentin Byfield? We need to check that and see. I mean, the fact that they're giving it to Laferriere, and he might be a better fit for the power play, honestly. So something to consider, but I think Laferriere is a good ad, like a good spec ad. You don't need to rush out to get him, but he's going to get power play 1 time. And at this point in the year, I think LA has a pretty reasonable schedule with decent off nights. I'd be grabbing him. I have him in a couple spots already. That's how far the head of the game I am. All right. No, that's how far down the list of streamers I was. I picked up Laferriere. I'm like, yeah, it's fine. I'll take power play 2, Laferriere. Sure. But now he's going to get that power play 1 treatment. So we'll see what's what. He's getting a ton of ice time as well. So very good ad, I think. Over to Colorado, Arturi Lehkonen should play again this season as per Jared Bednar, so that's great, but I don't know if it's going to help us for our fantasy playoffs. He's back in Denver rehabbing that injury, so I'm not really expecting him back in any time that's going to help us for fantasy. And when he does come back, is he going to be getting full minutes, or are they going to be kind of easing him in, right? And now We've got Kadri. We've got Nichushkin scored a big goal here today. They have so many players that can step up and do stuff. So yeah, I'm not really that interested in Lehkonen at this point. So you can definitely drop him if you don't have IR spots. Like he's not a guy you need to worry about. Over to Philly, Travis Konechny, skating, but in a non-contact jersey. So he's still a little ways away. That's frustrating, right? Because the injury kind of came out of nowhere. In the Ducks, Mikael Granlund, he could return on Sunday here for the Ducks, and Troy Terry's still a ways away, right? So that stinks. Troy Terry will play again this year. Like they haven't, given us any more information than that, but Granny could be back, and that's really going to be interesting because I felt like Leo Carlsson, when he got injured and then Mikael Granlund was in there, like it just changed the dynamic of the team. They had Granlund on power play 1. Right. The way the power play is working there in Anaheim, we need to have Leo Carlsson on power play 1. Coach Q, make it so. Okay, we got to do that. Let's move over to Josh Morrissey of the Winnipeg Jets. He was taken off IR. He should play on Saturday. That's really good. So obviously, they're down a bunch of players there. Get Morrissey back in your lineup. I think he's going to have a nice end to the season. Winnipeg's still playing. It feels like they're playing for something, even though they're not. Like they're coming out and playing some good games, and they still have, like, to me, one of the best top lines in the league, despite the bottom 9 being hot garbage. Next up, Sid the Kid Crosby skated in a non-contact jersey with the team today, which is Friday. That's a really good sign. So yeah, just progress is going well. Crosby should be back before, maybe back for your playoffs at some point, so he can help there. Sticking with the Pens, Evgeny Malkin got a 5-game suspension. Yikes. For a whack on Rasmus Dahlin. I don't know what he was doing there. He did take a cross check in the back, but yeah, I mean, I guess when your stress response goes and your fight or flight is fight, and you've got a stick in your hand, what Evgeny Malkin does is he tries to take a man's head off, and that's fine. That's what he did. So 5 games, a little steep for that to me, but it is what it is. That's going to be really tough for Pittsburgh. I think you got to really look at your Pittsburgh stock and kind of adjust some expectations there, because Malkin was really driving a ton of play, ton of offense there. So. Let's move on. Jordan Eberle secured the bag. Yep, 2 years for him for the Kraken, $5.5 million deal. Really nice stuff. Eberle's been pretty solid and better than average offensively for the year, and it's nice to see, right? They like him there. He's their captain, so nice team-friendly deal as well. Almost done with the Newsies, folks. Thanks. Just lots of stuff going on here. Let's see. Ryan O'Reilly still day-to-day after taking a stick in the face, so we'll see if he can play the next game there. He's been pretty good. Didn't get moved here today, so I always feel like after the trade deadline, players that were kind of on the block, they can take a breath, right, and breathe a sigh of relief and kind of get back to playing their game. So guys like Ryan O'Reilly, I think, they'll get back to biz, right? The pressure's off, and he can just worry about playing hockey at this point. So that's good. Rupe Hintz returned for the Dallas Stars here tonight on Friday, then promptly got injured and left the game again. So we'll have to look and see what's going on there. But Maverick Bourque, Superstream still intact. Jamie Benn as well. Jamie Benn's power play 1 with Hintz on the shelf. So both those guys are viable if you're sticking with the Stars. Over to the Sharks, they re-signed Alex Nedeljkovic to a 2-year, $3 million deal. Pretty nice stuff, right? I think it's a nice safety net for Askarov. I think they're going to kind of timeshare it for a little while. Ned is, he's the more seasoned goalie. Obviously, Askarov has a higher ceiling, but I think it's a nice deal, and it's kind of a buffer that can really help Askarov through the next couple of years here. So yeah, that to me, it's a nice vote of confidence for Ned as well. So I'd be happy to get him into some games. Sharks have been pretty rough defensively, but it's a goalie, folks. It's a warm body in the net, and we feel good about that. Shane Gostisbehere was injured in Friday's game here, didn't return. He's day-to-day. Dylan Larkin left in the 3rd period on Friday's game with an undisclosed injury. He's day-to-day, so we got to check his status. That's pretty rough stuff. Like I said early on, they're buyers at the deadline, and then Larkin goes out and promptly gets injured in the first game after the deadline. So we'll see. And then lastly, actually kind of big news here. Mikko Rantanen, we got word from a beat reporter in Dallas. He won't be skating for 7 to 10 days. And that kind of puts his timeline to return closer to the end of March, right? Or potentially like, the beginning or mid week 22. So he's still viable. If you did a trade like I did, kind of took a risk and get a Rantanen stash, I think you got to get through week 21, right? That's going to be really key. But if you can do that, just know you're probably going to have Rantanen coming back. And I feel like they're going to want to get him, ready to go for the playoffs. So if he's coming back full force, and I think he should get his full complement of minutes. So that's all I got. That's it for the Newsies, folks. And we got to get into the schedule attack. Yeah. Got to attack that schedule. It's week 20 for fantasy hockey. Let's get into it. It is 56 total games this week. That's what we consider a heavy week. So yeah, it's tough. There's one team that has a Sunday, Monday back-to-back. That's the Chicago Blackhawks. So if you have an extra add-on on Sunday, you can pick up a player and ride that player into Monday. There's 5 teams with Monday, Tuesday back-to-backs to open the week. That's Calgary, Columbus, LA, New York Rangers, and the Utah Mammoth. There's 3 teams that play Monday, Wednesday off nights, Ottawa, Philadelphia, Washington. 0 teams play Wednesday, Friday off nights, so that kind of stinks. And then we have 2 teams that play Friday, Sunday off nights, Edmonton and St. Louis. One of the big issues for this week here, the heavy nights are really heavy, right? This is a quantity week, folks. So Monday, we got 5 games, which is fine. Tuesday, 13 games. That's a beefer. Like, you're not going to get guys in there. Wednesday, 2 games. And then Thursday, 14 games. Yikes. Friday, 2 games again. Saturday, 14 games. And Sunday, 6 games. So you really, really want to target those off nights. This is what we call a quantity week, right? You're going to have to roll with kind of lesser players just because they're on those off nights. And one of the things I like to do, especially with this week, you got to kind of break it up. So if I'm looking to stream this week, I'm looking at getting a Monday, Wednesday guy right off the bat, right? So, what are the Monday, Wednesday teams? We got Ottawa, Philly, and Washington. So grab a player like, Claude Giroux, and we'll talk about these players. Ride with him for Monday, Wednesday, then get off onto a Friday, Sunday team, which is either Edmonton or St. Louis. And I would choose St. Louis. They got some really good streamers, right? So you're using 2 moves, you're getting 4 games. That's about as good as you can do in a week like this. And then, if you have a second streamer spot, I'd be looking at maybe a week-long stream, grabbing a guy from Ottawa and just rolling with that player all week. So those are some pretty basic strategies, but yeah, I would really target the Monday, Wednesday first and kind of decide what you want to do after that. You can see over on YouTube, we're using Dauber Hockey Frozen Tools. So you can kind of see what we're looking at here. Those 2-game Wednesdays and Fridays, that's really, really rough stuff. Like, yeah, it's going to be a brutal week for streaming. So make sure you get those off night players. Okay. We got to move on to lowered expectations. This is where I talk about the worst teams to stream and potential drops for your fantasy hockey squad. So there is a team that is kind of the clear worst schedule of the week, and it's the New Jersey Devils. They play Thursday, the 14-game Thursday, and then the 14-game Saturday. Yikes. I mean, that show ain't no good, right? That's really rough stuff. And depending on what's going on, like if you're trying to get into your playoffs, like this is week 20 and your playoffs start week 21, you're going to have to make some hard decisions, right? And we're looking at players like Nico Hischier, Jesper Bratt, Timo Meier, Luke Hughes, anyone below those players, like you're definitely dropping them. I don't see, it's just going to be brutal. And then for the Jack Hughes owners, like you're kind of just riding it out, right? But I mean, would you drop Jack Hughes if you're going into Saturday, Sunday, and you can get a Friday, Sunday player and you need to win? Like, yeah, you might have to do that, right? These are the kind of decisions you'll have to make in redraft leagues, right? But yeah, in terms of these players, I think the way I would sort of hold them is probably just in that order. I'd take Hischier first, then you know what? No. I'll say Meier is the player I want to try and hold on to the most. Next would be Hischier, then Jesper Bratt, then Luke Hughes. That's the order I would hold the New Jersey Devils in and obviously drop from the bottom, right? Luke Hughes being pretty much, I think you're going to have to get rid of him. And then Bratt, Meier, and Hischier. So that's my 2 cents there. Going to be rough stuff, though. And then there are 9 teams that have 3 games with 0 off nights. They are the Boston Bruins, the Buffalo Sabres, Carolina Hurricanes, Colorado Avalanche, Dallas, Detroit, Pittsburgh, Tampa Bay Lightning, and the Vegas Golden Knights. So let's very quickly look at, kind of that drop line there, what we're looking at and potentially doing here. And again, remember, the busy nights this week are 13-game Tuesday, 14-game Thursday, and a 14-game Saturday. If you have players on these teams, you might not get any of them in, right? Like that's rough stuff. That's going to be really hard to take. You cannot take zeros in week 20, especially if you're going into if you need to win the week to get into the playoffs. If you're well in your playoffs, and you've got the bye locked up, or you're in the top 3 or whatever, I'm trying not to drop players that are going to be valuable moving forward. Like New Jersey, especially, there's a good schedule. Week 21 to 23, Jersey has a decent schedule, right? So you try and hold on, but you have to sort of assess where you are in the standings. I think that's going to make the biggest difference. But let's get into some of these teams here. Let's start with Buffalo. Players we're looking at: Josh Norris, Bowen Byram, Josh Doan, Jason Zucker, Big Pimpin', Ryan McLeod, Zach the Butler Benson, Jack Quinn, Matthias Samuelson, Owen Power. So I think of Buffalo, who there's none of those players that you have to hold. There really isn't. I mean, I want to hold Josh Norris. I want to hold Josh Doan potentially, but I mean, just for the power play one, I mean, Norris has 5 points in the last 5 games. The minutes aren't great. He's 83rd in individual expected goals per 60 over the last 5. So that's really nice. And he's pacing for a pretty decent amount. Like the guy's pacing for 75 points. So Norris is a guy I'd like to hold. I think he really helps that offense, obviously. But the other players, like Byram's had a nice last 5 games, 4 assists in 5 games. Doan has 2 assists in his last 5. Zucker, McLeod, they're all playing reasonably, but I honestly don't think you need to hold on to any of these Buffalo Sabres. That pains me. But if I'm trying to hold on to one, it's going to be Josh Norris. And that's not a bias. I really do think that's a really good player. And I think he can help you very much in fantasy moving forward. Buffalo does have a decent playoff schedule. So that's my take there. Let's move over to Boston. On Boston, we've got some bits and pieces. We got some bits and pieces here. Elias Lindholm, the 1C there in Boston. You got Pavel Zacha, the 2C. Victor Arvidsson's on the second line. Nikita Zadorov's your banger. Hampus Lindholm as well. In terms of players that you must hold from these guys here, it's not really there either, is it? I like Elias Lindholm and what he's been able to do, but am I holding if I can only get him in for 1 game potentially, or 0 games in week 20? No. I think you can drop each and every one of these Boston players if needed. If there's one guy I want to try and hold, it's Elias Lindholm, but it's not at all cost, right? You're going to have to see what you want to do there. He's obviously getting the power play 1 treatment as well and access to pasta. Let's move over to Carolina. Nothing could be finer. And we're in the same boat here. We got Taylor Hall, Logan Stanko, and put some stank on it. We got Jackson Blake, Jordan Stahl, Nikishin as well, if you want to throw him in here, although he's getting no minutes, so I'm not really too big on him. But Jackson Blake, he had a big game here. He had 2 goals on Friday. I mean, making it difficult for us. Jackson Blake's a guy I'm really high on, but again, in a week that's this brutal, and these off nights or these busy nights are as busy as they are, I don't think you need to hold any of them, right? I'm holding everybody above that, right? The top line, obviously, Gostisbehere I'm holding. I'm not looking to get off Gostisbehere. I know he's potentially injured, so we'll see what's going on there. Maybe if Gostisbehere is injured, we got to see who gets that power play 1 spot. I mean, Nikishin's had it at times. Sean Walker's had it at times. That power play 1 spot could be valuable, and I think defense are a little bit, more scarce. But I think the way I would want to hold those players is Jackson Blake is really the only one that I'm interested in trying to hang on to. And you don't need to. You could drop all of those players if need be, if they're not making your roster. Move over to Colorado. Yeah, definitely going to be some interesting decisions here. We got Valerie Nichushkin. We got Arturi Lehkonen, who, like I said, might not play or should return before the playoffs, but, could be spotty. Brent Burns, Gabe Landeskog, Devin Taves, and now Nazem Kadri. What are we doing? Right? I think Nichushkin, what did he play tonight? I'm actually going to look that up because I'm interested. But it's hard when you drop players. Like I always think too, is someone going to put a waiver claim on that player immediately? Right. Like it depends where you are in your league, like in terms of the standings. So if you are fighting for playoffs, like you can't really worry about dropping players. You just have to do it, right, to get games in. But yeah, if you're in a good spot, like someone drops Nichushkin, like I'd be picking up because Colorado does have a really decent schedule for the playoffs, right? All over the place. So I'm just looking at some of the ice times here in Colorado tonight. I mean, Landeskog played 22 minutes, just under 23. Nichushkin played 19-15. Damn. Nelson played 25 minutes. They played overtime, right? So it's a little bit inflated, but sheesh. I mean, this is crazy stuff. Yeah. I'd be looking to try and hold on to Nichushkin. I'd be looking to hold on to Landeskog. And then we'll have to see what Kadri's role is. He's coming here next week. I think it'd be funny. You pick up a guy like Kadri, like, yeah, I got Kadri, he got traded to a better team. And you're like, I can't even fit him into any games this week, right? It's kind of it's a risky play. So like Kadri, obviously he's going to a better place. He's not a must add to me unless we know he's getting power play 1. And if he is, I'm picking him up and maybe taking the L if need be, or trying to, get my games in another way and, help my team moving forward by getting a quality guy like Nazem Kadri. So that's my 2 cents there. Landeskog, Kadri, Nichushkin, I'm trying to hold on to. They're all droppable if you need to, right? I think they're all must roster players, but all bets are off if you're fighting your playoff life. So that's the disclaimer, folks. Let's move on to Dallas. Like I said, Hintz is out now. So Maverick Bourque, Jamie Benn, still viable, right? They're still doing stuff out here. Bourque has 4 points in his last 5. That's not including tonight. I think he got another point tonight. Jamie Benn, 6 points in his last 5. Stupid points per game. Like it's crazy. I don't know how he does it. Yeah, he's just a slick-haired, goateed beauty. He does that. But I think both guys are droppable. That's a pretty easy one for me. Over to Detroit, you got Patrick Kane. Power play 1, you got Marco Kaspers, Simon Edmondson, all droppable, right? Kane, I'd like to hold on to if possible, but again, he's not a type of guy that people are going to rush to the wire to get either, and the metrics aren't even that good. I still think should be on a roster, right? We talk about all the time, but 93rd in shots to goal per 60 in the last 5 games, 84th in individual expected goals per 60. Meh, it's mid, right? It's very mid. And we'll see. Like Larkin he can miss some time, so. I don't think that's going to help Patrick Kane. It's probably going to make it a little bit harder to score some goals there in Detroit. So that's my take there. All droppable guys. Pittsburgh, we got Anthony Mantha, Chris Letang, Igor Chinikov, and Justin Brazeau, all droppable, right? Doesn't matter. You can drop those guys, kick them to the curb. We're not holding them in a week where it's 3-0. Let's move over to Tampa Bay. An interesting conundrum here. Victor Hedman I threw on this list because I've got lots of questions on Victor Hedman. Can he be dropped? And I think he can. I honestly think Victor Hedman can be dropped. Like he's obviously kind of warming himself up post-injury. Last 5 games, he's averaging under 15 minutes a night. Like that's not going to do it. So, sure, I bet in the playoffs, he'll get back to his 25-minute, per game performances, and maybe he gets back on power play 1, but I think it's going to be load management for the rest of the season for Victor Hedman. And for those reasons, and the fact that he's not on power play 1 and Darren Radish is still cooking, doing well, I think you could drop Hedman if you need to. No questions asked. So Hedman could be a drop. Anthony Cirelli, drop. Oliver Bjorkstrand, drop. Right? Even though he's on power play 1, the guy's not doing a damn thing. Those guys are all expendable at this point in week 20. And then lastly, Vegas Golden Knights, Rasmus Andersson. I've seen him dropped in a few spots. I'm still interested in holding on to Anderson. Definitely depends on your roster construction. I feel like he's a perfect 4th defenseman, and he's a certain level above replacement where I don't think I could, literally replace that if I dropped him off my team. Even though he's not really doing so well in Vegas there, I think Mark Stone not being there has been a big deal. He drives offense so well, and that power play, especially in Vegas, so well. And I think they're really missing him there. So I'm trying to hold on to Rasmus Andersson, Noah Hanifin, Ivan Barbashev. Get the hell out of my sight. Okay, I think those are droppable players easy. Okay, now we got to move on to the next section we like to call Crossing the streams. Don't cross the streams. It's like Ghostbusters. Yep. I'm doing that. I don't give a damn. All right. But here we go. Crossing the streams. Best teams to stream from. And there's a clear winner here this week. It's Ottawa, the Ottawa Senators. They play Monday, Wednesday. Then they don't play again until Saturday, but then they play the off night on Sunday. So you're getting 4 games, 3 off nights. You know, that's fine. It's a great week-long stream. Let's look at some of the options on the Ottawa Senators. I think your first best bet, if you can, kick tires on Thomas Chabot. Is Thomas Chabot out there? The guy's in and around 50% rostered on Yahoo. I think he's kind of a guy like Rasmus Anderson, right? A guy that can do stuff, although the metrics are way better for Thomas Chabot now. I'm looking at him. This guy plays a really good amount of minutes, averaging the last 5 games, 23 minutes plus. 22nd overall in amongst defensemen in shots goal per 60, 16th overall in individual expected goals per 60. We like that. That's really nice stuff for Thomas Chabot in a secondary role on Ottawa. So I think if he's out there, he's a must-add for this week. Claude Giroux, not really playing very well as of late. 0 points in his last 5. Metrics are putrid, right? He's pacing for 52 points on the year. Yeah, I mean, Ottawa's been pretty rough, especially lately. Like it's not been going well, but he's a guy that you're going to have to roster this week. These are the type of players these quantity players that we're going to have to pick up as opposed to quality players, like we've talked about before. So I think Claude Giroux still he's going to give you some value. Like he gives you access to some power play time, albeit power play 2, right? And also he plays with Timmy Stutz and Drake Batherson. I think that's really the key there. You really want that. Claude Giroux centers the second power play. So I mean, you're putting some things on your side by picking him up. He's obviously a crafty vet. It's a reasonable stream for this week. It just doesn't feel good. Next up would be the Pinto Bean, Shane Pinto. Yeah, I like this player a lot. You know what, I talk about Shane Pinto all the time, but again, not a lot of opportunity for the Pinto Bean. He's playing 3C with Nick Cousins and Michael Upper Bodio Amadio. All right, he does that. It's a me, Amadio. I wish I could talk about Michael Amadio more because I would just do that every time. It's a me, Amadio. Right? Come on. Give it to me. Give it to me, Neil. Hit me up in the comments, all right? You big Mario fans out there. I say Mario. It's Mario, isn't it? Is it Mario or Mario? I need to know, folks, and you are the people that have the answers, okay? You come here because you're taking fantasy hockey seriously. I go to you for inane information, all right? Because, you might have that, and I need that, okay? Thank you for your service. All right, let's move on. Shane Pinto. It's again, doesn't feel good. I might rather have Pinto. No, I would rather have Giroux than Pinto. There's more chance for offense there, but I like Pinto as a player a lot better. Ridley Grieg, I'll throw him in here as well. He's getting top line deployment with not top line, sorry. He's playing with Dylan Cousins and Brady Tkachuk. So, I mean, it could be worse. Grieg's doing nothing offensively, which, not great. 1 assist in the last 5, just under 17 minutes time on ice. It's fine. He'll piss the other team off, right? He does that. And then Warren Foegele, all right, McLovin gets traded. This is a trade I didn't talk about off the top here, but yeah, he got traded to Ottawa as well. 1 goal in his last 4 games with LA. We've seen him get hot before. He's a good beefer as well. So we'll see where he lines up with the Senators. If he can get maybe on that third line, Shane Pinto and Amadio and Foegele, I'm not hating that, but again, for fantasy, it's not really ringing the bell, is it? So yeah, let's move on from Ottawa, but that's really it. If you want to get some blocks or something like that, Artem Zub is out there doing stuff. Tyler Clevin as well, Jordan Spence. This is slim pickings, right? So try and get, Chabot, Giroux, or Pinto. I think those are your best options for streams on Ottawa. Let's move over to, there are 6 teams that play 4 games with 2 off nights. They are the Edmonton Oilers, the LA Kings, Montreal Canadiens, Philadelphia Flyers, St. Louis Blues, and the Washington Capitals. And it's really important with these teams here to note where they play their 2 off nights, right? For instance, St. Louis plays 4 games with 2 off nights, but they play Tuesday, Thursday, which are both heavy nights, so you won't get someone in. And then they play Friday, Sunday. So if you do a week-long stream of a St. Louis Blue, they're not even playing until Friday, right? So that's what I was saying earlier. Like I would be targeting the Monday, Wednesday teams, and then later targeting the Friday, Sunday teams, right? So I'll let you know though where these teams play. Starting with Edmonton, they play exactly what I just mentioned: Tuesday, Thursday, which you're not going to get their streamers in, and then Friday, Sunday. So that's going to be one of your back half teams there, and you're looking at players like Jake Wallman, right? 3 goals in the last 5. Metrics are okay. Minutes not great. Just under 19 minutes in the past 5 games. I like Wallman a lot, but it's hard on Edmonton, right? Like they have their people that they go to do stuff, and when Wallman is not. And now you got Connor Murphy in here, which actually could help Jake Wallman a little bit. Maybe let him play a bit more offensive game while Murphy takes care of the defense on that pairing. But they're a third pairing, so it's not really something to get excited about with Wallman. You got Vasily Podkolzin, 3 points in his last 5. I mean, it is what it is there. Pods has had some good stuff throughout the season, but right now he's rocking the 4th line potentially. He's much more valuable when he's playing with Draisaitl, right? But he's just not doing that right now. So something to consider there. We got Jack Roslovic, who is playing with Draisaitl, 2 points in his last 5 games before Friday's game. Over 15 minutes average time on ice. Metrics are mid. I'm not really loving that. Matt Savoy, like 7 points in his last 5. That's really nice. But is it real? Like, I just don't. I think that he's had, it's kind of, he's gotten in on some of these big Edmonton, offensive explosions, right? Because he's playing with Draisaitl. And we know that's a good offensive player, but I wouldn't expect that production to continue. So, but I mean, as far as Edmonton streamers, Savoy's probably your guy. Wallman or Savoy are the guys I'm looking at for sure in Edmonton on the back half of the week. And then Trent Frederick, like whatever, he's your beefer. He's a net front guy banging away and maybe can pot a goal or 2. Let's move on to LA. We got Alex Laferriere, who I think is really in line for a good opportunity here. So I think that's a guy that we need to be interested in. LA plays, let me tell you, they play Monday, Tuesday, and then they play Friday, Saturday. So the 2 off nights are Monday and Friday for LA. So it's a weird schedule, right? But I mean, in a week like this, those off nights are currency. So, something to consider there with LA. But I do think Laferriere is your premium streamium for LA, and I think you got to get the biz with him. He's going to get power play 1. We'll see what happens when Byfield gets back. Drew Doughty's out here doing stuff. I mean, he's power play 2 now. His value's nuked, although in the last 3 games, he only has 3 games of data here, but pretty good on ice numbers for him. 26th best in Corsi 4/60, 40th in scoring chances 4/60, and 37th in expected goals per 60 on ice numbers when he's out there. So, yeah, I think it helps when you get a guy like Artemi Panarin traded to your team as well, right? He can tilt the ice. He does that. So I would expect that. Anze Kopitar, 3 assists in his last 5. Good deployment, still power play. Take a ride, right? I like Anze Kopitar. He's kind of riding off into the sunset. And I think he's motivated and he's playing well. And he's a guy that really knows how to manage his own minutes. And I like that player a lot. I think he's a really good back end option for the Kings. Trevor Moore is out here as well if you're interested in him, although he's not having a great season. But those are the guys. Laferriere and Kopitar are the ones I'm really interested in LA. Let's move on to the Montreal Canadiens. Canadiens play Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Saturday, Sunday. So the off nights are Wednesday and Sunday for the Canadiens. Again, really weird stuff. Like, how do if you're just doing a week-long stream, sure, you're still getting the 2 off nights, but a lot can happen in between those games, right? And you could miss the good game and get the bad game. They're playing 2 back-to-back, so it's tough stuff, right? I'd rather take those teams that have the Monday, Wednesday, and the Friday, Sunday. But I mean, here we are, right? So Montreal, they've got some good bits and pieces as well. Obviously, Mike Matheson, the professor, he's been playing really, really well as of late. 5 points in his last 5. That does include a 3-assist game that he had. I mean, this guy skates miles out there. I love Mike Matheson. I love watching him. Without Lane Hudson here in Montreal, Mike Matheson would be a 60-point defenseman. Book it! But he doesn't need to be, right? And it's obviously really working out well for Montreal, and Mike Matheson loves it there. So, yeah, I do think he can absolutely do something for you. Zach Bolduc, minutes aren't there. So I'm not super interested there. Oliver Kapanen as well. Both Bolduc and Kapanen in the last 5 games, just over 12 minutes average time on ice. It's not going to cut it, boys. We don't like that. Kirby Dach as well. He's out here, 2 goals, 1 assist in his last 5 games. But again, the deployment, terrible. Just terrible. I mean, this is not exciting stuff. Alex Newhook, if you want to go that way. I know Nate does, right? He's a big Alex Newhook fan. 4 points in his last 3. So, coming back off injury, but I don't know. Montreal's not really ringing the bell for me here. So, but those are your options. I would rank them, honestly, Mike Matheson, and then leave it at that. Philadelphia is the next team here. Let's look at what they do. Philly plays Monday, Wednesday. So, yeah, they're one of your teams that you're going to target here. And they've got some decent targets. They play Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday. So you can get the Monday, Wednesday, then move off. Grab a guy from St. Louis or Edmonton. And that's, to me, the best strategy you can possibly do this week. And that stinks. That's a sad state of affairs. But Michkov, signs of life, right? Had a 2-goal game and then nothing else. So he's got 2 goals in his last 5, averaging over 16 minutes. Power play 2. I'm sick of the narrative here. This is a guy that, I think has 90-point potential, but yeah, I mean, the clock's ticking, right? It's not really going too well under Rick Tocchet, and Michkov needs to own a big part of that, right? If you show up in the camp not in shape, like, what do you think is going to happen? This is a professional league. So that's too bad. I really hope he takes his offseason training seriously and just comes out the gates blasting, right? But you got Michkov out there. I'd be interested there, taking a ride. Owen Tippett, just the Tippett. Not doing too well as of late. 1 assist in the last 5 minutes are there, though, so that's good. Travis Sanheim, Christian Dvorak. Sure. I mean, again, we do have to dig in a little bit on these Flyers here. I like Christian Dvorak, what he's been able to do this year on his line with Trevor Zegras and usually Travis Konechny, but Owen Tippett's been playing there as of late. I like that player, and he's getting power play too as well. So I think he could do a lot worse. We need Travis Konechny back in here for Philly to really go. I mean, he's an engine there that sort of drives things. But yeah, I mean, I'm vaguely interested in Owen Tippett, right? He's getting some power play 1 here as of late as well. So give me some Tippett. I don't mind that. Sanheim, Dvorak, Cam York, Jamie Drysdale. I think Jamie Drysdale is the guy you're targeting there for the power play 1. But none of these guys are really performing as of late. Cam York has 0 points in his last 5. Jamie Drysdale has 2. One player I will shout out here, Noah Case, the 2C there. He's actually been putting some points on the board. We have to recognize that. 5 points in the last 5 games, but metrics not great. 207th in shots on goal per 60, 143rd in individual expected goals per 60 in the last 5. That's showing no good, right? It's not great, right? But anyways, that's it for Philly. Let's talk about St. Louis. And again, this is the back half team. I feel like these, if they had a better front of half schedule, I'd be putting all the St. Louis guys at the top, right? I really like some of the guys they have here. And Nate's been talking about this for a while. But we got guys like Jordan Kyrou. We got Dylan Holloway, Pavel Buchnevich, Cam, the late night beauty, Fowler, Jake Neighbors, Jimmy Snuggerud, Philip Broberg, Dalibor Dvorsky, right? Lots of guys that are currently doing stuff. I mean, I look down the list here. Jordan Kyrou, 3 points in the last 5. He's 40th overall in individual expected goals per 60 over that period. Dylan Holloway, 4th overall in shots on goal per 60, 43rd overall in individual expected goals per 60 in the last 4 games. And he's got 4 goals and 1 assist during that time. So I really, really like Dylan Holloway. I think that's a player that, was dealing with a pretty significant injury and he wasn't able to kind of do what he used to do. And I feel like he's kind of feeling his plums a little bit. He's starting to get back to biz, and I'm really interested in Dylan Holloway. Pavel Buchnevich as well, a guy that, another guy that Nate's sort of been talking about. He's 2C currently playing with Neighbors and Jordan Kyrou. But some points are on the board. 5 points in the last 5 games. Metrics, whatever, right? But, he does get power play time. With Robert Thomas back, it's been interesting. Robert Thomas has played on what I would consider the second power play with, they had Braden Shen on there, Dylan Holloway, Broberg, Jimmy Snuggerud, and then Jordan Kyrou, Dalibor Dvorsky, Falk, Jake Neighbors, and Buchnevich was the other unit. So he's doing some funny stuff there in St. Louis. We really need to look at that St. Louis power play to kind of help decide how we're going to go here. But just know that a lot of these Blues are really putting some points on the board in the last little bit here. Cam Fowler, I'm not really interested in, but I mean, in a pinch, he'll do. Jake Neighbors, 0 points in the last 5. He's kind of fallen off. The numbers aren't really, or the time on ice, sorry, not really good either. Jimmy Snuggerud, still a guy we're very interested in here. 3 points in the last 5, not including Friday's game here. Metrics have fallen off to, it's not the same as kind of when we were getting excited, but just know that he is that kind of player. And again, I think once the trade deadline's over, we might see a different Blues team here. I think they could surprise some people. They've got a good coach and they've got good young players on that team. Like, that's a rebuild to me that shouldn't take very long. They got guys like Kyrou and Thomas under contract. Dylan Holloway, Broberg, snaking them from Edmonton was unbelievable. And then you got a really good young goalie, Joel Hofer, as well. So yeah, I'm low key into the Blues rest of season. Hopefully that's not a hot take, but yeah, I mean, the way I would sort of, I'll tell you how I'll rank the Blues in a second here. The last team I want to talk about, Washington Capitals. Sorry, I'm losing my voice. You have a 2-hour stream, then another 1-hour stream, and I'm yelling at my kids. You see the result here. But St. Louis plays Tuesday, Thursday. Sorry, not St. Louis. I'm talking about Washington. They play Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday. So Washington, again, is one of your front half teams that we want. So let's look and see what we're talking about. Yeah. Can't believe John Carlson got traded. That's crazy. All right. So the guys you definitely want to pick up, I think, right off the bat, PLD. He's dynamite. He does that. Centering the second line, Alexei Protas, if he can get healthy again here. Tom Wilson. I love that second line. Really opens things up for Ovi and Dylan Strome on the top line there. I also like the third line. You got Connor McMichael, Justin Sordiff, Ryan Leonard, all guys that we should be in on, right? I think Ryan Leonard would be kind of the belle of the ball there just because he's still getting some power play one time. So, I like PLD. I like Leonard. The rest of the guys I would sort of order. I don't know. I'm going to have to look at this. PLD actually 6 points in the last 5 games. Love that. 36 overall in individual expected goals per 60. Not too shabby. None of these guys are really popping off. It's funny, Sordiff has 0 points. Connor McMichael has 0 points in his last 5. Ryan Leonard, 1 goal in his last 5. It's not great, right? PLD's popping off, so I would definitely go him first. And Rasmus Sandin on the back end here, he's got 4 points randomly in his last 5. That's nice to see. And Timothy Liljegren is making his way over to Washington as well. I didn't talk about that because it's not really fantasy relevant, but they played together on the Leafs. It's kind of a nice little piece there. And maybe it helps. Maybe it helps with the mentals there. But that's all I got to say really about them. I mean, I like Justin Sordiff. I think I would sort of rank them who's getting the most time, right? So, of the rest, I would say I want Ryan Leonard first, then McMichael, Justin Sordiff, and then everybody else. Throw Martin Verheury in there, the Ferrari. Yeah. Throw him in there as well. And also, one guy I forgot to mention for St. Louis, I did mean to do this, is Logan Mailloux. He got power play 1 here tonight. I checked on that right before I came on. I thought it was going to be Philip Broberg, and I was getting pretty excited about Philip Broberg, but it was Logan Mailloux who got that power play 1. And before tonight's game, this guy actually, he's got some decent numbers. I mean, he's playing just under 20 minutes. That was before Falk was traded. 2 goals in 5 games, 10th amongst defensemen in shots to goal per 60, 7th amongst defensemen in individual expected goals per 60. Take a look at Logan Mailloux. I think that it's reasonable. He's a reasonable pickup, especially if he's going to get some minutes here. He's got 5 points on the season. Sheesh, that's terrible. But he's a beefer. And he could be in line for some good opportunity. I was hoping it would be Philip Broberg, but it still could be. We just have to wait and see. So that's that. That's your crossing the streams. Let's move over. Talk about the Patreon. I'm not going to give you the whole spiel here because I want to, just for the sake of brevity, but definitely check out the link in the description. Check out the Apples and Ginos Patreon. We got a lot of stuff going on, especially you can sign up at an $8 a month tier to get the Apples and Ginos player evaluation tool, which you can see right here on YouTube, showing Nazem Kadri's hot stuff. He's cooking here. So you can use this. I use it every day when I'm making fantasy hockey decisions, and you should too. Okay. But now it's time for the dream streams. Got to talk about all the best players ranked by me. I'll give you the top 10 based on the off nights, right? And you're going to see a lot of Ottawa here just because it's a quantity week, not a quality week, right? That said, my number one and two are going to be St. Louis Blues. And this may be spicy. I don't know. But Dylan Holloway and Jordan Kyrou, I'm interested in picking them up. Obviously, like I've detailed the strategy that you can use. But if you're doing a week-long stream and you want to get 2 games for sure, instead of 3 games for sure of an Ottawa player, I would go Dylan Holloway at number 1, Jordan Kyrou at number 2. And then I've got Claude Giroux at number 3 as the top Ottawa streamer. Pavel Buchnevich at number 4. So I'm really liking the Blues. Alex Laferriere at number 5, potential for power play 1. Obviously, he's getting it. Does he keep it when Byfield comes back? We got to keep an eye out there. Number 6, I got Pierre-Luc Dubois of Washington. Obviously, we talked about them and that early week schedule. He's a great ad. Anze Kopitar of the Kings. You're getting the 2 off nights again. The Pinto Bean at number 8. You're getting 3 games of Shane Pinto. Could be worse, right? Mike Matheson at number 9. And then lastly, following up the caboose, Ridley Grieg doing a full slap shot into an empty net like an absolute dingus that he is. So there you go. That's how I'm ranking the top 10 streamers here for week 20. Best for hits. You've got Nick Cousins at number 1. Again, I'm using a lot of the off nights here so you can get these players in. Nick Cousins of Ottawa, Alex Laferriere, he does that. Tyler Clevin of Ottawa, Jeff Malott and the Kings, Carl Grunstam and Philly. Those are my top 5 hitters. Best for blocks, Thomas Chabot, he does that. Right, Colton Parayko as well, St. Louis, Martin Ferrari of Washington, Mike Matheson, the professor, and Alexander Carrier of the Montreal Canadiens. All right, that's your dream streams, folks. Let's move on to a little section called Hold Me. Hold me now. Oh, yeah. You know what? I one of my regrets here recently, last week, Nate and I did this show, and he said, hold me now. And then he was about to pop off into a song. And because I can't just let anybody have a moment, I just ripped into the exact same song he was singing when we could have heard Nate's sweet voice singing that beautiful song. It would have brought a tear to all of our eyes. So Nate, if you're out there listening, I'm sorry, my man. All right. Maybe he'll regale us next time. All right. I don't want to, I interrupted when I shouldn't have. And I feel bad about that. All right. I feel deep shame. Anyways, we're talking about Hold Me. Okay, these are the best players to add for the future. 50% rostered and under on Yahoo. We did have some graduations here. Really nice stuff. Matt Duchene, Gabe Landeskog, and Beckett Seneca, all players that we recommended last week. I'm not going to take a victory lap because they should have been on your roster already, right? So, but it's great to see Matt Duchene's up at 62%, Gabe Landeskog 53%, Beckett Seneca 52%. Still too low. We got to get them much higher, especially with what's going on here towards the end of the season. Okay. So yeah, let's look at some of these long-term plays moving forward. Matt Zuccarello's at number 1. He's still only 26% rostered. I don't understand. I really don't understand, and it's pissing me off. What are we doing? What the hell are we doing? It's crazy. Patrick Kane at number 2, 32% rostered. Troy Terry at number 3, 44% rostered there. He is injured, so we have to take a look at that. Jared McCann at 42% rostered. I think he needs to be a lot higher. Jared McCann, definitely a player of interest, a guy we want on our squads. He's only had 2 assists in the last 5, but we know what he can do. We know what he's capable of doing. And now we got, Bobby McMahon in there. Does that do anything for Jared McCann? You know what would do something for Jared McCann? Ice time. Power play 1. Just give him the actual treatment and let's get the biz, but that'll never happen. Anyways, I like Jared McCann. Elias Lindholm next at number 5, 29%. Alexis Lafreniere makes this list now at 16%. The only reason I put him on here, he did have a nice little game there. He's got 5 points in the last 5. New York schedule in week 22. It's going to be a big deal, folks. Everybody is playing week 22, right? Because it doesn't matter when your playoffs are. You're playing week 22 as your playoffs, and the Rangers have that perfect schedule. Alexis Lafreniere is power play 1 with Panarin gone, and Trocheck stayed. Trocheck is there, so that's still a fine power play, and Lafreniere is on it. So I think you got to pick this guy up. I think it's a guy that you should have on your squad, right? Or don't leave him out there too long because he's starting to, again, feel his plums and get the biz. So Alexis Lafreniere, number 6. Josh Norris, number 7. Chris Kreider, chicken necks. This guy's really doing some stuff here. 5 points in the last 5 games, not including tonight. I know he got some more points here. That Leo Carlson line, like, yeah, Chris Kreider's on it, and he's on power play 1, and they're really doing stuff. I think Kreider is really a nice piece. Nate highlighted this guy a little while ago, right, as a player, that an under-rostered player that you should pick up, and you absolutely should. Chris Kreider is going to have a nice end to the season here. Josh Doan at number 9, just for that power play 1. Luke Evangelista of the Preds, 11% rostered. Cole Perfetti, Mom Spaghetti, 21% rostered. Really nice stuff. Nate talked about him as well as kind of a under-the-hood metrics guy. I like to see it. Jimmy Snuggles at number 12. 13, Mason Marchment. 14, Pierre-Luc Dubois. 15, Jordan Eberle at 27%. 16, Anton Lundell. 17, William Eklund, still doing stuff. 18, Frank Nazar. He got a couple points tonight. I was happy to see it. He's only 14% rostered. I just like that player. I'm watching him. And then Ryan Leonard, I'm putting him on this list as well. 10% rostered. Sub 20%. Alexis Lafreniere at number 1. Luke Evangelista. Cole Perfetti at number 3. Jimmy Snuggs. And then Frank Nazar, number 5. Leonard, number 6. Johnny Marchessault makes this list at number 7. He's only 15% rostered. Brock Besser, 19% rostered. Got 2 goals tonight for the Canucks. Love it. And Bobby McMahon at 16% rostered. Sub 10. We got Jimmy Snuggerud again. Jason Zucker at 9%, getting that power play 1. Jackson Blake, 9% still. Got 2 goals tonight. Alexander Wenberg, 8%. Igor Chinikov. Could see some run, actually, with Malkin getting out there. Maybe he sees a few more puck touches. 8% roster for him. Long-term plays on defense. Number 1, we've got Thomas Chabot, 50% roster. Jake Wallman, number 2. OEL, Oliver Ekman-Larsson, number 3, 35% rostered. Bo Byram, number 4. The Klingon, John Klingberg at number 5. It's funny we're still putting him on this list, but yeah, he gets his touches there on power play 1 at times, and yeah, it's a real low risk ad. Tony DeAngelo, number 6. Travis Sanheim, Minute Muncher at number 7. Zane Parekh for that upside power play 1, number 8. Shimon Nemec, number 9. We'll see what happens there. They didn't move anybody, so yeah, didn't really open the doors for him to do more. Drew Doughty at number 11. Philip Broberg, number 12. Throw Philip Broberg / Logan Mailloux, whoever's getting power play 1 there in St. Louis. Sub 20, the Klingon, John Klingberg. Tony DeAngelo. Sam Renzel makes this list. I think, yeah, he's getting some touches on power play 1 as well. You got Parekh, Nemec, Malinsky, Logan Mailloux as well on that list. Long-term plays for goalies. We got UPL and Alex Lyon still cooking in Buffalo. They're still, like, Alex Lyon is 47% rostered. UPL is 34% rostered. Crazy stuff. Both, I have them. I don't like having a tandem, but I do have that tandem in one league, and it's really been working out well for me. Obviously, Buffalo's been playing really good. Freddie Anderson makes this list, 29%. He's played 3 of the last 4 games, right? Obviously, Bussy I think he's the number 1 there, but Anderson's getting a little bit of run now. And I think you could do a lot worse. Obviously, we know what kind of game that Carolina plays, right? Shot suppression and lots of shots for. So that's a good place to be for a goalie potentially. Dan Vladar as well, number 3, 46% rostered. Guy's catching bullets in his teeth out there, really giving the Flyers every chance to win some games. Joel Hofer, number 4. Number 5, Tristan Jarry / Connor Ingram, whoever's getting the starts. Number 6, Askarov of San Jose, 41% rostered. And then number 7, the Montreal tandem, Monty or Dobish. I think I'm going with Dobish there. I think there's a better chance of some victories there. And that's it. That's really it for the hold me section. So hopefully that helps you out. Last piece of business here. Got to talk about the head-to-head streamer deathmatch. And it's a real barn burner here between Nate and I. I can't believe he pulled out the win last week with Tony DeAngelo. That pisses me off. I wasn't here for it. I was ahead. If I won that week and then I won this week, which I think I will. Now we're looking at potentially like some tie-breaking stuff. But now I think I have to win out to tie. I don't even know what the record is. So we'll revisit that on Sunday. But I had Johnny March, so he had Mason Marchment. I'm winning by a little bit. And if Marchment misses Saturday's game, that's a big dub for your boy. that's it. That's really it. That's what we're dealing with here. So yeah, thank you so much for checking out the episode. Definitely join the Discord community. Link is in the description. Over 2,000 fantasy hockey managers getting the biz. Please like, rate, review, subscribe, comment. That helps us out so much. I wish I could explain how, but all I'll just say is it's the algorithm. Okay, help us out. All right. That's, you know what, in all seriousness, that's the biggest way you can support Apples and Ginos. You know, if you're not going to do Patreon, which is totally fine, give us some likes, give us some ratings, the reviews, all that stuff, honest reviews. Like, I love it. We take all your feedback very seriously. So thank you so much for checking us out all season here. We'll get you to the end. We'll get those chips, and definitely check out the Apples and Ginos Patreon. Again, link is in the description. But that's all we got, folks. That's all we got for this episode. Hopefully it brought you a little bit of value, helped you get a little bit better at fantasy hockey today. All the advanced stance you heard from, I always say this, advanced stance. All the advanced stats you heard from today came from Natural Stat Trick, 18 skaters. All the micro stats you heard from came from all 3 zones. Many thanks to my brother, Matt Creamer, for supplying the music. And that's it, folks. Thank you so much. Celebrate your day. Bye for now.